We are learning more about the hiring process for former Des Moines Superintendent Ian Roberts, who was detained by immigration enforcement officers in late September and later transferred into federal custody on gun-related charges. Public records and application materials obtained by Local 5 reveal discrepancies in his resume, raising questions about how closely his credentials were vetted before the school board approved his contract. When Des Moines Public Schools announced Ian Roberts as its next superintendent in May of 2023, district leaders called it the result of a, quote, comprehensive national search. But emails and documents obtained by Local 5 show a more complicated picture. Roberts' application lists 2 doctoral degrees, one from Morgan State University in 2007 and another from Trident American University in 2021. The Morgan State degree was previously reported by Local 5 as incomplete. Those close to Roberts say he finished most coursework but never completed the dissertation, though a dissertation topic does appear on the resume submitted to the district. The board claims this discrepancy came because the consulting firm which helped hire Roberts provided the wrong resume to them at the time. Internal emails show staff noticed inconsistencies while preparing the announcement. One district communications leader wrote, quote, "It doesn't exactly align. I'm assuming what he wrote in his bio is correct. We can confirm when we talk with him." A representative from the PR firm hired to manage the rollout replied, quote, "I agree. We should go with what he has provided in his bio. Happy to make that change." Roberts himself also made edits to the press release, adding an accolade which has since been reported as non-existent and changing the wording of his doctorate. In an email, he wrote, quote, "I made 2 changes in paragraph 3, where I added George Washington University's DC Principal of the Year, and paragraph 5, where I changed the PhD to Ed.D. That edit reinforced the Morgan State claim. Now, Roberts is currently in federal custody, and his trial on those gun charges is set to begin in March. Des Moines Public Schools is also suing consulting firm JG Consulting, who they say played a major role in his hiring.
A unique partnership could bring big improvements to Boone's park and recreation spaces. Local 5's JD Snover shows us how an Iowa State class is turning lessons into real-world impact.
Boone City leaders say the resources they would normally have go towards maintaining what already exists, like the structure here at Sandholz Park. But with the addition of 36 Iowa State University student brains, they've been able to kickstart an ongoing strategic planning process. For 5th-year ISU senior Adam Larson, presenting his final design proposal for Lowell Park was the culmination of years of hard work.
This one we kind of so from our previous years, everything we've learned, this studio was kind of putting it all together.
The project pushed students beyond textbooks, moving from theory to real community engagement.
That was my first time actually doing community engagement work, meeting with the people of Boone, meeting with the elementary kids, middle school, high school kids. So getting a bunch of different input from a variety of age groups is really fun.
Larson is one of 36 students submitting ideas to the city, bringing fresh perspectives from all kinds of backgrounds.
For those who have more of an urban background, they're from a large city, to be able to work with a small community and vice versa.
Tom Neppel, a professor of practice at Iowa State, helped launch the project alongside assistant professor Adina Cox.
It's about creating opportunities and experiences for people to open things up, broaden horizons, and just be a more well-rounded design professional and community member and citizen in a lot of ways too.
Once grades are in, the students' designs will be handed over to Boone's Park Commission as reference points for the city's long-term planning. Boone Park Superintendent Mike Cornelis says even if they only end up taking one idea, it's, quote, a win. In Boone, I'm JD Snover, Local 5 News.
The Des Moines Police Department says when compared to 2024, it has recovered more guns this year. Joining us now in studio is Local 5's Emma Stroner. And Emma, how many guns did Des Moines Police exactly recover this year so far?
Dana, between January and November, there have been 702 guns either seized or surrendered, which from last year is an 8% increase. I spoke with Sergeant Paul Parizek, who shares what might be driving that number up. As 2025 comes to a close, the Des Moines Police Department has been watching trends, and they're not so sure how to feel about this one.
That's the 50-50 question.
From last year, gun seizures and surrenders are up 8%, and that's not including December.
When you have that number, the question that comes to us is, okay, this is great. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And then you also have people say, oh man, this is horrible. There's more guns out there.
Sergeant Paul Parizek says they're right.
There are more guns out there, and there's a lot more guns than we've seen in the past.
More guns and less staff to recover them.
We used to have a special unit that did this. Don't have that anymore.
In 2025, 702 guns were seized or surrendered. Of those 702,
The overwhelming majority of them are crime guns.
and between 24 to 25 of the total guns recovered were from kids.
And that number should be 0. So, that's something that we've seen trend over the years as well, where it would be in the teens. It was something that was pretty rare. Now it's not. It's pretty common now.
As for the rest, those that aren't taken are given.
We may have a family who's having an estate sale and they find that their grandfather had an old rifle in the basement and they don't know what to do with it. We have situations where people who are experiencing a mental health crisis may say, you know what, I want the guns out of my house until, I'm stabilized and I've got myself taken care of.
After they enter the hands of law enforcement, what happens to the firearms depends on the situation.
If they're connected to a crime, we hold on to them through the court process. And then at the end of that time, by court order, they're either returned to the rightful owner or they're destroyed.
Parizek can't say for certain a single factor that is contributing to the rising number of gun recoveries this year, but last year's numbers could indicate one.
Last year, we had a period where we saw that the number of felons in possession had gone up since 2023. That still may be happening. We'll have to wait till the end of the year.
Now, Parizek says if you have a gun, to make sure it's locked away and not in your car. He says too often people will leave their car unlocked and then a firearm could end up in the wrong hands. Dana?
After a 2-year break, Iowa is returning to the federal summer EBT program in 2026, giving families extra help to put food on the table during summer break. Local 5's JD Snover shows us how one food pantry hopes the change will ease pressure during a time of record demand.
In 2026, Iowa will return to participating in the federal summer EBT program. That's a decision that food pantries like the Des Moines Area Religious Council hope will lift some burden off of them.
It's really important for families, I think, to be able to choose the food that is most appropriate for their children.
Under the updated program, Iowa families who struggle while kids are out of school for the summer will receive $40 per month to help pay for their groceries. Iowa's version will be slightly different than the national program. Participants won't be able to buy taxable items like candy, soda, or some prepared foods.
It's also going to increase the sale at local retailers, which is great for the economics of Iowa, particularly rural Iowa.
This decision follows a test run of an alternative program Governor Kim Reynolds introduced in 2025 called Healthy Kids Iowa, which relied on community partners like DMARC. In announcing the change, Reynolds praised the program's success, but acknowledged the strain it placed on food banks and pantries, saying, quote, "The response to the healthy, fresh foods that were available for families was overwhelmingly positive, but operating the program was challenging for some food banks and pantries." And the change is coming at a time the pantry is seeing some of its highest demand ever.
November was totally bananas. We were breaking a record every day. We were really grateful to the community for stepping up and supporting us.
But most importantly, to Underhill at least, the change gives families what they're asking for.
Many families said that they would prefer summer EBT, so it's wonderful that the constituents are being listened to.
In Des Moines, I'm JD Snover, Local 5 News.
Just about 24 hours ago, crews responded to a structure fire in Perry, destroying the El Rey Market. The family business and Perry residents are now left without a go-to spot in the town. And as Local 5's Emma Stroner reports, El Rey's owners are now faced with a life-changing loss.
Smoke fills the air and remnants fill the ground on Willis Avenue 2 days before Christmas.
Probably go home, take a shower, and get ready for tomorrow, for Christmas Eve.
That's Antonio Sanchez, one of the owners of what this building once was, El Rey Market. It was a restaurant and a go-to stop for Perry residents looking for items from guns to authentic Hispanic products. Sanchez says those residents have stuck with him.
Anytime we had an issue here, there was always a crowd of people willing to help and help us move forward.
Those people aren't backing down now after a massive fire destroyed the market. At 10 p.m. Monday night, crews responded to one of the largest fires Perry has seen in over 10 years.
It ignited so fast that it was just consumed the whole building.
Fire Chief Grayson Hill sent 28 firefighters who at one point used 2,000 gallons of water per minute to put out the flames.
We were here from basically 10 o'clock last night till 5 o'clock this morning. Just this structure alone, we had fire departments on the A, B, C, and D side, and so we had it controlled all the way around.
Chief Hill tells me the only way the state fire marshal would have been able to investigate this fire is if there were a structure left. And because there is no structure left, they likely won't be able to tell what caused the fire.
They told me to just put it down as unknown.
A structure destroyed and a cause unknown.
What's done is done.
Sanchez is moving forward,
There's not much we can do here.
and his strides might come with some extra pain.
Business wasn't doing as well, so I had to let my insurance lapse. You just never think it's going to happen to you, just until it happens.
But Sanchez won't have to walk alone.
We'll stay up late, Christmas, and open the gifts around midnight and have the grandkids, and I'm not going to let that put a damper on their Christmas.
In Perry, Emma Stroner, Local 5 News.
Well, a private event at Des Moines International Airport earlier today honored 2 Iowa National Guard soldiers killed in action in Syria as their remains were brought home to their families. Local 5's J.D. Snover has more.
A solemn event took place on the grounds of the Des Moines International Airport on Wednesday as the remains of 2 fallen Iowa National Guard soldiers were officially returned home to their families. Exactly 1 week after arriving back in the United States and 11 days after being killed in action during an attack in Syria on an anti-terrorism mission, the remains of Staff Sergeants William Nathaniel Howard and Edgar Torres Tovar are now home. Howard will be laid to rest in Marshalltown, while Torres Tovar will be buried in Des Moines. The honorable transfer ceremony, held at the 132nd Wing at the Des Moines International Airport, is a tradition that ensures fallen soldiers are treated with dignity from the battlefield to their hometown. Among those paying their respects today, U.S. Senator Joni Ernst, Congressman Zach Nunn, Governor Kim Reynolds, and the Guard's top leaders. The event included a moment of silence and salutes as flag-draped transfer cases were carried off the aircraft, an emotional reminder of the cost of service. Torres Tovar is remembered in his obituary as a, quote, exemplary person and a, quote, source of pride, while Howard is remembered as someone who, quote, knew how to enjoy life and, quote, speak in fluent movie quotes and sarcasm.
And that was J.D. Snover reporting. Now, both fallen soldiers will be honored with full military honors and funeral services in the coming days.